Hello guys and welcome to my way to fire. The vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, an American billionaire investor Charlie Munger has said this. The first $100,000 is a bit, but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do, if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. It is a very interesting quote and I agree with it. But why is that? Let's have a look at why the first $100,000 is the hardest and the next one is much easier. Before you know it, you will have $300,000 and $400,000 is right around the corner. If you are trying to amass the first $100,000 you will face some challenges. The first one may appear simple, but at the same time it seems so difficult to some people. Just start. A lot of people say things like, I don't have time for that, I am too tired to think about that, or I don't have any money to invest right now. The thing is that you invest because you want more money, not because you have too much. So just like Mr. Munger says, it is hard but you have to find ways to make it. If you want to save more money you have to live below your means. If you actually decide to start investing you will face another challenge. You have to start from scratch. Since you don't have any money working for you, your portfolio only grows thanks to your contributions. At first you have to do all the hard work. It requires you to find ways to save more money to invest into your portfolio. Once you have some money invested, the returns start to help you a little. For example, if you manage to get to your first $10,000, a 10% return would give you $1,000. It is nice but you can make that amount much faster by working. If the percentage return stays the same but it is now calculated from $100,000 it earns $10,000, which could be worth a couple of months of your salary. Now imagine you have $1 million invested and earn 10%. That gives you $100,000. That is way more than the average annual salary. So while the percentage return stays the same, the dollar amount changes significantly. People who have managed to reach the $100,000 mark say they can really tell the difference in the pace of making their next $100,000. This progress can be very satisfying. The money you invest from your day job doesn't account for such a big part of the portfolio's growth anymore, which is why Charlie Munger says you can ease off the gas a little bit after you reach your first $100,000. Of course, if your target is a much higher number then your contribution will also help to get there a lot faster. The compound interest should kick in, which accelerates the growth tremendously. Since you have a solid foundation which provides a substantial amount, you can focus on improving your returns since every percentage point represents $1,000. You also gain new options unlike someone with no savings. A lot of investments require some initial capital. For example, real estate. Although you can take out a mortgage, first you need some money saved up for a down payment. So if an interesting opportunity arises in your neighborhood you will be able to consider it. Even if you decide to not go for it in the end, it is good to have the option of considering the investment. Another example is starting a business. It both involves a higher risk and requires some capital. If you have the capital and additional investments you can fall back on it is much easier to give it a shot. Having extra money allows you to invest a small part into more speculative assets which are riskier, but might bring in higher returns. People with no money saved up just don't have these options. The sooner you get to your first $100,000 the sooner you can start focusing on the next milestone or whatever number you have in mind. Also, the sooner you achieve it, the longer that money can work for you and take advantage of the compounding. You want to start rolling your snowball early on so it can get big. But what can you do to get there faster? You have to do the heavy lifting at the beginning, so you have to increase your income. Try to get a raise at your job, or even a promotion. Think about starting a side hustle that will generate extra money. Maybe you could work somewhere on the weekend from time to time. The other thing to do is to decrease your spending. Remember the quote from Charlie Munger, I don't care what you have to do, if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon. There are many ways to save more money and we just got 2 suggestions. You don't have to actually walk everywhere but using the public transport could save you a lot of money compared to driving a car, which involves purchasing the vehicle and paying for gas, maintenance, insurance, etc. The second part is about spending money on food. Eating out too often can prove very costly. One fancy dinner can equal to a whole week worth of groceries. Cooking at home can provide a healthy diet as well as major savings. Housing is another major expense. Do you live in a large apartment all by yourself? Do you live in the city center although you work 10 miles away? People often live in bigger apartments than they can afford. Consider moving to a smaller one or to an area with lower rent. Ideally, you could live with your partner to split the rent. But if you are single, you might want to find some roommates to lower your housing expenses. Think about other unnecessary purchases. A t-shirt for $10 does the same job as a t-shirt for $100 with a logo on it. There are many online streaming platforms now. Don't subscribe to all of them. If you want to reach $100,000, you shouldn't even have enough time to watch them. Instead, subscribe to only one at a time. If you finish everything you were interested in, you can just switch to the next one. Or save even more money by subscribing to this channel instead. It is completely free and you get more content about personal finance and investing. Try to buy things that last a long time in bulk when they are at a discount. All of these things save you a little bit of money, but it adds up. With the power of the compound interest, every extra $100 you manage to save can earn you $10 the next year, then $11 and so on. You can save many of those hundreds over the year, which will give you a significant boost. Savings rate is also important if you want to determine how much you need to retire. Someone who makes $80,000 a year and spends $60,000 saves $20,000 a year. If someone else makes $40,000 but only spends $20,000, it means they both manage to save $20,000 a year. Should they invest in the same assets and get the same results, they would hit their first $100,000 at the same time. The difference is that if their expenses remain the same, then the second person needs a lot less money invested to retire, as they only need to generate $20,000 a year. If we try to estimate how much they need invested using the 4% rule, we get to $1.5 million for the first person, and only $500,000 for the second. These are rough estimates, and some people argue that the 4% rule doesn't work anymore, but you can see the 1 million difference, so it proves the point. Establishing good financial habits is very important. Once you get used to saving and investing, it becomes much easier to continue doing that. Extreme saving is not for everyone, but even a slow start is better than nothing. Although it might take longer, it will still prove much better for your retirement than not starting at all. Remember that after reaching the first $100,000, you can ease up a bit. Once you make it, the first million doesn't seem as unreachable as it used to. Now you have a substantial amount to help you get there. With enough time, the compound interest will do most of the work. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit the like button to support this channel, and if you are interested in more videos about investing, personal finance and just overall money related topics, then make sure you subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.